In today's painting tutorial, we're going to be working on the most iconic mech ever created, the RX-78-2 Gundam. Now, the Gundam itself is beautiful in its simplicity. However, anyone that's painted miniatures before knows that there are two very difficult colors featured on the mobile suit, white and yellow. The reason these colors are often difficult is because of the way the pigments for white and yellow work. They're dense and heavy and don't flow as well. Thus, the paint usually tends to be thick and difficult to work with. However, like the Gundam itself, we're going to keep it simple, we're going to make it easy, and it's going to work out fantastic. So without further ado, let's grab a brush and get to painting. So we're going to start off with a primer of Tamiya Ultrafine Gray, and if you don't have Ultrafine Gray, then Gray Sear from Citadel will work just fine. They're a very similar color. This color is going to be the basis of our white, so try to get something like it. You can see here that I did not glue the shield as well as the arm, and that will make it easier for me to paint the side of the body here. Additionally, I didn't glue the head in. I also removed a little nub that would lock it in if I had glued the backpack on. That way I'm able to get the head in and out. Now I do wish I didn't glue the V-fin on, so that way it would be easier for me to get into that eye socket, but c'est la vie. We're gonna have to do it the hard way. So I painted the shields inside, the rifle, all the joints, as well as the backpack, the same way that I painted in the Char's Zaku video. Check it out if you haven't. I'll leave a link up above, as well as all the colors that I use so you don't have to reference back. Now we're going to remove the arm as well as the head, so that way we can get started painting on that chest. We're going to start with our blue, and for that we're going to be using 2 thin coats Eldar Robe. You can also use Citadel's Calidor Sky, and if you don't have 2 thin coats, which I use regularly, I do have a conversion chart down in the info, and you can click on that to see what paints would work well as a replacement. As we paint our base coat, we want to make sure our paint is thin. It's okay to do multiple layers as long as we don't ruin any details and just get it nice and saturated on there. We're going to glaze in 2 thin coats Abyssal Blue to shade our blue, and you can do a thumb test to make sure that it is thin enough. Remember, glazes have to be almost water-like in consistency to apply and stain well. Next, we're going to be doing an edge highlight of 2 thin coats Elysium Blue. Now you only want this on the edges. Be subtle with it because our Eldar Robe is such a great blue for that Gundam blue. We don't want to overwork it. And then finally, we're going to do some dot highlightings by mixing our Eldar Robe with some Ice Yellow from AK 3rd Gen. We're just going to put that on the very corners of things to make it really pop. Next, we're going to start with our red, and for that we're going to base with Mephiston Red from Citadel. For this color, we're going to be going from dark to bright, unlike the blue where we shaded down and then highlighted afterwards. And don't forget the parts that we removed. You want to get the red on the shield as well as the head here. And it's really difficult to get in here, so it's okay if you make mistakes. You can just clean it up afterwards. Next, we're going to apply our Evil Sun Scarlet. This is going to be our base color, so make sure you leave a little bit of those recesses as that Mephiston Red, so you've got a shadow in there already. Afterwards, we're going to start mixing in some Wild Rider Red, and Wild Rider Red is a pretty orange color. So we're going to mix that in to highlight, and we don't want a whole lot of Wild Rider Red, which means it's going to be a pretty subtle highlight, but that's okay. The more you highlight red, the more the color can get away from you. So you want to be careful and only highlight as much as you feel like you need to. And for the head, I'm not even highlighting that area where the eyes are at because it's so difficult to see in there. And then we're going to do a final highlight of pure Wild Rider Red, and once again, be careful with the color, only apply it to corners and edges. Then we're going to start on our yellow, and like I said in the beginning, yellow is a difficult color to paint. However, I think the real answer to it is to find the right base color. And for that, I use Vallejo Games Bronze Brown. It's a sort of heavy, dark brown yellow color that really works great as a base for a brighter yellow to apply over it. And once we have a strong layer of that bronze brown, we're going to shade it with some Fuegan Orange from Citadel. Even though the bronze brown is a dark color, I find shading it with an orange helps the saturation of a yellow color to apply over it. Next, we're going to get in there with our actual yellow, which is Two Thin Coat's Skulker Yellow. And as we apply it, we want to make sure we're leaving those shadowed areas in those recesses. We're not applying it all over the miniature. We're just going to start to get sort of as a highlight. So make sure you're applying it nice and neatly. Take your time, make it look good. Then we're going to apply Two Thin Coat's Yellow Flame, and that's going to be our edge highlight. So once again, just on those edges, those corners, anything beveled upwards and raised. And finally, we're going to do some dot highlights of pure AK 3rd Gen Ice Yellow, and you want to apply it conservatively, just dots on some corners, not even all the corners. Citadel's Gray Sear is a great color match to my Tamiya primer, so I'm going to use it to clean up any mistakes that I made that got color on my white parts, as well as color in areas that my primer may have missed. Next, we're going to be shading it, and for that I'm going to use Two Thin Coat's Oblivion Black Wash. Now, with this wash, you want to be very, very careful because you don't want to stain your beautiful white black. You just want to try to get it in crevices, and it's difficult. I even thought of trying to go with a panel liner that Gunpla enthusiasts love, but I decided to stick with tools that I know, and it wasn't easy. In hindsight, I should have done this before I cleaned up with my Gray Sear. Now we're going to begin to highlight our white, and to do that we're going to mix our Gray Sear with a pure white. Now with highlighting white, you want to be reserved. The more white you add, the more white it looks, and while that might seem like a good thing, you actually want contrast in your colors, so you want your base to be a slightly grayer color than you might expect. That will allow the contrast to really work and make that model look white on the tabletop. And finally, we're going to do some dot highlights of pure bold titanium white. And the more you add of this, the less powerful these dot highlights become. So like with the yellow, the ice yellow, just add little bits of dots every now and then where the light would hit. There's no need to overcomplicate this color. Don't go crazy with the highlights. Keep it simple and beautiful, just like the RX-78-2 Gundam. And he is complete, the RX-78-2 Gundam, or Grandpa as he's affectionately referred to. This relatively simple design might be really intimidating to work on, not only because of the difficult colors in white and yellow, but also because of that responsibility to really nail the Gundam down because it's such an important part of mecha history. And I hope this guide has shown you a simple way to tackle those difficulties and really get a fantastic looking miniature that really represents the Gundam well. And like I said multiple times throughout this video, what you want to do is you just want to keep it simple. Use solid colors, use easy highlights, and shade just as much as you need to, but don't overdo it. Keeping things basic can actually go a really long way, and that's something that I need to learn myself, is I have a tendency to overshade, over-highlight, and sometimes it can look a little messy, but keeping it clean and tight can really go a long way, as you can see here. This is the part where I ask you to like, subscribe, do all those fun things, and I hope you do. It would really help me out. I'm astonished with the amount of views that I got on the Sharzaki vid. I am speechless, honestly, and I'm so appreciative, and it's all because of you all. Thank you for watching, thank you for being here, thank you for listening to me ramble like this, and I hope you'll continue to do it, and I'll catch you in the next one.